Yes.
Human evolution. All right, get comfortable. I've noticed JP and Mark are the only ones brave enough to be in the splash zone, so that was good to see. Big data. I'm sure some of you have seen that term thrown out quite a bit, and you're left wondering, probably like me, how big is big data? What is big data? A couple quick stats. Can everybody hear me okay? We're good? Okay. All right, so reason we have this graphic. From the beginning of time to 2003, we've created 5 billion gigabytes of data. In 2011, that same amount of information was created every 2 days. By 2013, that time will shrink down to 10 minutes. Okay? Another quick stat. We consume more data on a daily basis than a person living in the 16th century would consume or receive in their lifetime. And then final stat, 10% of all photos taken were taken in 2011. Okay, you can thank Instagram, you can thank all the different smartphones that you're using now and taking pictures of me. So where does big data live right now? 2011, a Homeland Security agent was gunned down on a Mexican highway. The authorities and investigators had an idea of the Mexican cartel that might have been the bad guys behind it. Okay? They had interrogation notes, phone calls, wiretaps, emails, video surveillance, but they didn't have any way to compile this information. So they looked to a company, Palantir, a big data company, that took all this information, compiled it. Okay, we're talking terabytes of information, and then a week later, a suspect was arrested from that same Mexican cartel. So big data has an infinite number of reasons or contexts and purposes to actually be used. Mad Men, I'm sure everyone's familiar with the program on AMC, I believe. Golden age of advertising. Okay? Back then, the advertising agencies controlled everything. They were in the driver's seat. They controlled what the messaging was, how to display it, who to send it to, and what channels to use. Today, that's not as much of the case. Consumers, they saw audiences as mere consumers. The audience today has much more than just purchasing power. They're leaving traces of what they want. They tell the brands exactly how they want to be communicated to, where they want to be communicated to, and what channels and at what time. And all this information is compiling into that big data for us as marketers. Gartner puts forth what they call is the hype cycle of emerging technologies. And this is what we see here. This hype cycle is a graph that'll display the common pattern of any new innovation or new service that's brought to market. First, you start with the to market or concept of it, followed by a period of enthusiasm, excitement. I'm ready to go. Awesome, let's jump on it. And then there's a little bit of a disillusionment, like, I don't think this is going to work. There's no way. And then it plateaus into realism. Okay? Gartner states that big data is right about to peak. Okay? And they also forecast that big data is going to hit the plateau of productivity in another 2 to 5 years. So, how do we get in the game? Where do we look? How do we compile all this big data for a big end result for ourselves and our customers and consumers and company? You're going to see a lot of familiar faces that provide big data services. You got your Google, Oracle, Microsoft, Amazon, and a couple other ones you might not have known about. So you have Pindaho, Hadoop, and Cloudera. If I butchered their names, I'm sorry. I apologize. But these fees and pricing models range from yearly fees to, if you're familiar with cloud services, they're utility-based. So per query, I know Google's API for big data is per query, and that's something crazy, like 0.005 times however many terabytes you want to consume, and so on and so forth. So as marketers, what do we want to do with this big data? Well, first, the holy grail of customer analytics and the end result of things, we know that metrics matter, results matter. It's not the golden age of advertising anymore where we could throw a message, craft it, and just look at it, as beautiful it may be. So what we have to achieve is that right mix of being able to find a need be it predictive, forecasting, descriptive, diagnostic, and then work backwards and find out exactly how much it's going to cost for us to achieve that end result of where the direction. So we could ultimately achieve marketing messages for our consumers that have the right offer, at the right context, which this is clearly not, at the right time, and then using the right channel. So to recap, big data, it's out there. It's about to peak in enthusiasm. We're going to be able to start using it. There's tools, there's offerings for it. It's impacting our life today. And always want to attach some kind of ROI to it, just like everything else. Results matter.